KBRFradio.com news, I'm Derek Sidian, and this is the weekly news recap brought to you by Fergus Falls Monument, online at foreverstonmemorial.com, memorials that matter. Court documents have revealed more details about the break-in stabbing that happened in Perham last weekend. The Otter County Sheriff's Office initially reported that 22-year-old Cyrus Lee Olson was arrested on Saturday morning for breaking into a woman's apartment in Perham and stabbing her. The woman fled the apartment and a neighbor called 911. The woman was brought to Perham Hospital, but was later flown to Sanford Hospital in Fargo for treatment of serious injuries. Court documents say that when deputies and Perham police arrived on the scene, they were escorted to the victim's unit where they saw fresh blood and signs of a struggle. With the victim not being in the apartment upon arrival, officers were worried she was in Olson's apartment. Deputies knocked on Olson's door but were met with verbal resistance. They eventually forced entry and attempted to arrest Olson, who physically resisted. Ultimately, deputies say Olson was forcefully taken into custody with the help of a canine unit. A bystander informed officers that they found the victim lying in the doorway of another apartment and she needed medical attention. Later at Perham Hospital, the victim told investigators that Olson came into her room, stomped on her head, and then stabbed her, stating he was going to have sex with her. Shortly after, she was intubated and was unable to give officers any more of a statement. The emergency room physician told deputies that the victim sustained numerous injuries, with stab wounds between her eyebrows, to the back of the neck at the base of her skull, to her left abdomen, left hip, upper buttock, and an apparent defensive wound through her left hand. Olson has been charged with both first and second degree attempted murder, first and second degree assault, attempted criminal sexual conduct, and obstructing justice. He made his first court appearance Tuesday morning. A Dalton woman was arrested last weekend for stealing almost $300,000 from her mother with dementia. Otter County prosecutors say 59-year-old Deborah Goodhart withdrew over $256,000 from her mother's bank account between January and December of 2025. Goodhart was her mother's primary caregiver and controlled her finances. Court documents say she would write checks to herself and cash them at a bank instead of making direct withdrawals. Goodhart initially told investigators that she and her mother would often go to casinos, spending between $4,000 and $5,000 per visit. When investigators spoke with Goodhart's mother, she said she didn't remember any trips that Goodhart described and that she would never have approved her daughter to take $40,000 out of her account per month. Prosecutors say that while under investigation between January 12th of this year and February 6th, Goodhart withdrew an additional $36,000 for a total of $295,000. She also tried to withdraw an additional $25,000 on February 6th, at which point deputies returned to Goodhart's residence and placed her under arrest. Goodhart made her first court appearance Monday morning and has been charged with financial exploitation of a vulnerable adult and theft. The disappearance of a West Fargo woman is now a murder investigation. 21-year-old Joshua Height of Fargo is facing charges in the disappearance of Isadora Wengel, who was reported missing by her father January 7th. Height was arrested at his apartment Tuesday afternoon on charges of murder and tampering with evidence. Fargo Police Chief Dave Zabolski says this is a heinous and diabolical crime and believes there may be some dismemberment involved. Investigators have indications that Wengel's body may be in Otter County. Zabolski says Height had 2 plastic totes delivered to his apartment, and only one of them has been recovered. The missing tote is believed to be somewhere between the Fargo, West Fargo, and Moorhead metro area, or in Otter County, including the Fergus Falls, Elizabeth, Underwood, and Battle Lake areas. Investigators are asking community members in these areas to search their properties, especially those in rural areas near roadways, for any sign of this type of tote or any sign of Isadora. Anyone with possible information about the location of the missing tote or the disappearance of Isadora Wengel is asked to contact law enforcement immediately. Once again, local veterans organizations are supporting the Fergus Falls Veterans Home and its residents through generous donations. For several years now, the Disabled American Veterans Fergus Falls Chapter 25 has funded the cost of Wi-Fi and cable television at the home. The 2025 annual pledge of more than $30,000 was recently fulfilled with a final donation of more than $15,000. Boots on the Ground, founded in 2014 to honor veteran residents at the Fergus Falls Veterans Home, recently donated $40,000. The home will use the funds to support several services, including a new bingo machine, resident haircuts, the Resident Arts Program, and the Recreation Fund. The Fergus Falls Veterans Home thanks DAV Fergus Falls Chapter 25 and Boots on the Ground for their ongoing generous donations. Community theater is returning to Fergus Falls this summer. A Center for the Arts announced on Thursday, February 12th, that it plans to relaunch the community theater program with a summer production for adults. The last adult community theater production put on by the center was Oliver in the summer of 2019. The organization says it's currently building its production team and is looking for individuals interested in various backstage positions. More information about the production and auditions will be announced at a later date. This has been the Weekly News Recap, brought to you by Fergus Falls Monument, online at foreverstonmemorial.com, memorials that matter. For KBRFradio.com News, I'm Derek Sidian. Tune in at 5 o'clock every Friday afternoon on KBRFradio.com or on the Fergus Now app to stay up to date with local news. Find more stories on KBRFradio.com. Sign up for email news sent right to your inbox, delivered by Cooper's Office Supply.